Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Lenny. This is Big Girls Really Do Cry, and this is the diet word week 6. Yeah, week 6. I've had a better week. Despite everything that's going on. If you've seen my chatty video, chatty catch up, then you'll know that I still haven't gone out, and I now have a pressure sore, so that is adding to issues about getting up. But I've just had the nurse out this morning and they think it's drying up, and so hopefully, you know, some point of next week I might get out. Fingers and toes and legs and everything crossed, of course. But yeah, considering I've had a better week. However, the start of the week, Saturday, I was over calories quite a bit. Then on the Sunday, I had under 2,000, I think. But the rest of the week has been pretty normalish. So that's really good, and I felt better about it and stuff. So that's really good. And I have ended the week on daily average. So my daily weekly average is 2,409, and my daily weekly goal average is 2,450. So yeah, bang on basically. I'm really chuffed with that. Obviously I'll have put a screenshot in to show you, so you can see for yourself. Yeah, and I feel better about it. So I'm hoping it's the start of the way forward. I'm just trying to keep my brain busy, trying to keep my brain busy so that I keep from wanting food is the best option. Keeping busy, trying to do things and stuff, it just helps a lot. So there's been a lot of videos this week which helped actually. And I have more ideas in the pipeline, and obviously, as I mentioned in the chatty vlog, there's things to come with the sort of money raising things and raffles and all sorts. But that's not what we're here for, is it? That's not what we're here for. I've actually got a photo of some food that I took. How amazing am I? Now, I have mentioned this a while ago before, but I haven't actually had it from us. I haven't ate it in a while either, and so I thought I'd bring it back up. I haven't done it within this chatty diet word thing. So basically, this is a vegetable curry and whole grain rice. Now, hopefully you can see the picture, thankfully. I love this. I absolutely love this. And this is from Tesco's. The curry is in a tin. I know some people are averse to like tinned foods or whatever, but the curry is in a tin, or curry as other people say. It's 308 calories for the full tin. The whole grain rice is just a microwave rice from Tesco. It's about 40 odd pence, I think, 42 or 3 pence, and I think and also the tin of curry is £1.50 in the tin, and then it's a 692 calories complete in total. So the curry itself is 308, as I said, and the rice for the full pack is 384. So yeah, 692 if I've done my maths correct. And for under £2 in cost money wise. And I honestly think it tastes really nice, really nice. And I thoroughly enjoy it, and I always feel full. Do you know what I mean? So definitely worth having. And the veg don't, because of the flavour of the curry, the veg don't feel like, you know, if you're averse to a bit of veg, then it doesn't feel so much, if you know what I mean. And I mean, I guess if you wanted to, you could add meat to it if you wanted to. I don't feel like it needs it. I don't mind. I'm not a vegetarian or anything, but I quite enjoy it as it is. So yeah, but that is one I just thought I'd share, because if anyone else is out there who maybe, you know, struggle to be able to cook anything, or unable to cook, for instance, and it's definitely worth adding onto your list, is a main meal. But yeah, anyway, so that's that. I haven't really had anything else food wise that I would share. No. So as before, I'm going to read a part of my blog, or review it, I guess. Initially, when I first started to review the blog part of it, I was looking for things that was specifically related to calories or healthier eating. This one, it was just it says it was just a catch up, so I'm not really sure what I was catching up about, because I haven't read these, and I wrote this in 2018. I think it was 2018. Let's have a look, shall we? Where are you? Oh yeah, because I did one about motivation, and I've just seen the first line of this, and it says, how ironic that I do a post about motivation. Right, so it says, just a catch up, December 30th 2018, so just before the new year here. It says, how ironic is it that I do a post about motivation, or the theory of it, only to lose my own for a little while. The struggle is real, and it's always there, hence why you have to keep fighting every day. I have so many frustrations and things I can't control, and this overwhelming feeling of being stuck in a game where I repeat the same level every day for what feels like forever. And it's got to the point for the past couple of weeks I got so sick of playing, and everything dipped, especially my mood. I felt like I was in limbo with everything, and sometimes even went backwards. I know this is not really the case, but to be honest, it was hard to shake for a little while. On my birthday last year, so this was 2017, I remember it lying in bed in the hospital, and I had started planning a future I never could see before. I was up to walking about 30 steps, and once I came home, I walked to my sitting room for the first time in over a year. I was so happy, but since then, things have seemed to have slowed, and in some ways stopped, which granted, that is to be expected. I know I realised that my knees were never going to do any races. I did think, given how far that I'd come, I'd manage to walk to maybe a car outside, etc., or maybe use a wheelchair, and then maybe use a wheelchair for long distance. As you may or may not know, I have osteoarthritis, and usually at around my age they see a little bit of damage, but my knees are shot, which were the words of my consultant. I was able to stand and step through the pain enough to transfer. Then last year, at around this time, my right knee locked and the pain was horrible, even just moving it across the bed. I had an MRI about 6 weeks later, and the little bit of cartilage I had was worn. The little bit of cartilage that I did have was torn, and it was jamming between my knee joint, causing the pain and restricting me from straightening or lifting my leg from the knee. It took 6 months for it to wear enough to stop catching in the knee joint. Eventually, after my physio, I started standing again, and over a few weeks managed to get up to 15 seconds, and then in September 2018 the same thing happened to my other knee. So I'm back to being stuck in bed. I was able to sit round and do my physio, but 5 weeks ago ended up with bed sores, which meant dragging myself across the bed was out of the option. Wasn't an option. I'll get there. In case I made it worse. Though touch wood, they're about healed now. Isn't it weird how I'm interjecting right now? But isn't it weird how I've picked this one and it's got stuff in about bed sores, and I didn't actually realise. I'm sort of in that place with bed sores at the minute. The knee specialist wants to replace both my knees. Ideally, if I was on my feet, it would help. He said that I'd need to lose more weight. I already knew that, to be honest, though. He said it was more for the I can never say this. Anesthetic? The bit that puts you to sleep, anyway. As the knee replacements would hold my weight. He said I was meant to go to the hospital 2 weeks ago for a review with him, but the ambulance didn't arrive. I was more gutted not to have gotten out of the house, to be honest. I just cried for most of the day. It's another complex story which is massively frustrating. At this time I was constantly stuck. I was stuck in the house for 2 weeks after coming out of hospital, and the only times I got out was via an ambulance to an appointment that I had. 90% of the time the ambulance didn't arrive in time for my appointment, so I never got out, and it was more frustrating to me and upsetting because I couldn't actually leave the house, and they were my only chances of getting out. And I was I was hoping that I could go, and then so disappointed that I couldn't. I have complained to PALS. PALS is the patient advice liaison service, which I have complained to PALS, which I had debated about doing, because on one hand I'm so grateful for all the help I have gotten, but on the other hand the repeated issues with the ambulance service and weight and tracking my weight frustrate the life out of me and make me feel so different despite how far I've come. I wasn't going to complain because there are so many who will judge this, and to be honest, I have even done it to myself. But I realise if I don't say something, nothing will ever improve. So fingers crossed that someone listens. I have left the house about 8 times in total this year, all for appointments, most of which were rescheduled and I was late for. There used to be bariatric ambulances, but they were decommissioned about 2 years ago, and the patient ambulance has a weight limit of 25 stone. So it's only an A&E ambulance that they send for me. I have no other way out of the house. However, this worries me massively, in that if they do get to me in time to get to my appointment, when I'm on the ambulance, what if an emergency call comes in and I could be delaying someone's chances of getting to hospital? Because that's really horrifying to think of. And it was, honestly, I was so upset about this at the time, and I remember clearly, and I spoke to PALS and we liaised with the North East Ambulance Service, who told me that they were bringing out patient ambulances with I think it had 70 stone limit on them, because what they kept doing for me would be bringing out this. They eventually got a stretcher that I could use in the other ones, but in the I've forgotten what it's called now, ICAT. I think it's called an ICAT. I'm not sure what it stands for now, but they used to use that, which then so then I wasn't using any ambulance. But eventually they've now brought in 2 patient ones, which the 2 patient ones cover the whole of the North East, and that just makes us wonder how many people in the situation that I was in, because even without the weight as well, with the lipedema and the lymphedema, because on the stretcher they would have ambulance that would hold the weight, but they didn't have a suitable stretcher, but the stretcher would have the weight limit capacity. It's just that for some reason mine's all at the top of my legs, and my hips is the widest point of it. but the widest point on these stretchers was like in the belly area, because I think that's where they think most of people who are bigger is where it's going to be, but that's not the case. So they couldn't lock the sides of this stretcher, so it was such a issue that I ended up having to complain. But I did feel, one, I felt it made us feel different, because I always had these issues, like an over 2-year period of like constantly missing appointments, and because that was my only escape, you know, I think I had 10 appointments in 2 years, and twice, and every time it had to be rearranged. So it ended up being, I remember I had to go to a fracture clinic for something, and they had to rearrange it 3 days in a row because of issues with the wrong stretcher being sent, the wrong ambulance being sent, and yet you would think all this information should be already listed so that they would know, you know what I mean? And apart from that, then they got these new ambulances with the right facilities to cater to everyone, because that's what it should be. It should be catering to everyone, no matter what. Right, and it says, I am adding to this post as I started writing it in early December, and now it's the 30th. My knee is still struggling, and so I have made the decision to get the hoist put in. It wasn't what I wanted to do, and think it added to my mood drop, but I need to escape these 4 walls as it's driving me insane. The hoist was meant to be fitted on the 22nd, but I need to be out of this room when it happens for health and safety reasons, so I currently don't know what will happen. I didn't end up being out of the room. I had this big metal, it's above us now, but the big metal plinth that lies across the top of the 2 plinths that go down, that has the hoist on. For health and safety, they didn't want to put it across us, but they just moved us slightly out of the way. Still went across us. Hopefully, luckily they didn't drop it though. So I have also missed another 2 appointments. Pals hasn't got back to me, so I'm now going to put a complaint in writing to the hospital commissioners as to why the patient ambulance doesn't cover all patients, and also why, despite having bariatric department, because yes, our hospital has a bariatric department, so therefore you would think it should not have decommissioned the 2 bariatric ambulance that it had without replacing them anyway. And also it says, despite having a bariatric department, there is no way for me to get weighed, as the last time I was weighed was February. Even though I have offered to pay, it seems impossible. So I hadn't been weighed since February, and this was the December. And when you are losing weight, it's extremely frustrating not to be weighed. I'm not asking weekly, even 3 monthly would be something. I had been pinning my hopes on getting weighed in October, and was told it would happen, and it fell through. I hoped to have a 2-year weight update from my house recorded, but again it didn't happen. I tried to pep myself up and put makeup on, etc., but my mood dropped and I stopped calorie counting and planning ahead, and this impacted my food intake. So I was having calories more around my maintenance level of 2,480, and on occasions going over those. This went on for a few weeks, and then I brought it down to 2,200, knowing Christmas was coming and knowing I wouldn't be counting as much for those few days. So as I said, it's now the 30th of December. I'm back to maintaining. I'm going to enjoy New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, start again. It was just a blip in my journey, and one that is far from being over. I will be back again in the new year with any updates, also any plans for the future. Whatever you do and however you celebrate, stay safe and Happy New Year. So that's basically what I said. Back at that time, obviously I weighed less, so therefore my calorie levels were less. But yeah, it just goes to show that we can have blips whenever. It's just a blip. And also, you know, I struggled to fight against those wrongs, you know, with regards to the ambulance and other things that I'd gone through as well, because I was worried about, oh well, people would just be like, oh well, you're fat, it's your own fault, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, where people who don't suffer, I'm not saying all people, because I think some people do understand, but some people don't. They have that kind of, it's just an eat less, move more mentality that doesn't, that they don't realise that it's so much more mental. For, I'm not saying for every single person, but I would say for the majority, and especially when you go into the more extreme side of things. I think so. That is that. I don't need to. I'm going to leave it there before I just waffle off on another tangent another way, because I'm good at that. But yeah, I'm pleased despite everything that I've had a better week. I am hoping that it continues. I'm hoping to be out next week at some point, so that by the time you get the next week update, I'll have been outside again, because I mean it makes a massive difference, massive. I hope you have all had a good week in whatever you're doing, whether you're calorie counting or not, or doing some other type of weight loss plan. And yeah, if you have any questions or anything, pop it down. If you have any comments, pop it down below, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye.